An image you will see over and over and over. Stay with us. Our royal panel coming up next, weighing in on the historic events of today. And we are back here in our Buckingham Palace broadcast booth, where we have had an amazing vantage point on this historic day. And there are the cheers again. I'm never sure what actually prompts it, but it always kind of gives you a tingle when you hear it. Susanna Lipscomb and Christopher Warwick, thank you for joining us again. You know, there were so many moments of this day, but the first one, I think, had to be when we saw the anxiety at Clarence House. We knew something was about to happen, and of course it was the brothers emerging for their move to the Abbey.
Absolutely.
It showed to me this incredible bond that these boys have had and still have.
You're absolutely right. These two brothers are bonded like no others, really. You know, you can cite royal brothers through history, but these are, you know, these are the two boys. They haven't got anybody else. It's the two guys together, and there is obviously such a very, very close bond there, and a camaraderie. You know, you could just notice that. We saw it in the Abbey, and really just got these two guys driving in the Bentley on the way to the Abbey.
Susanna, the bond, though, has a tragic beginning. I'm not saying if their mother hadn't died, they wouldn't be close brothers, but clearly that has a dramatic impact on the lives of any family. Such a public loss, and, you know, bringing them together this way, and that it's lasted.
Yes, they were so young when it happened, weren't they? I mean, William was only 15, Harry 12, and it obviously has, understandably, had a very profound impact on them.
So for them to walk back into Westminster Abbey today, it is, in a sense, a new beginning.
Yes, it is, because of course this is the scene of this great sadness, her funeral, and a place that has obviously got demons as far as they're concerned, but they've changed all that. They've turned it around because of this wonderful celebration today. Mm-hmm. They've carried her memory with them, and yet they've brought it into a place of happiness.
And some of the ways in which they've carried her memory was through beautiful elements of the service, the music, the reading. First of all, Christopher, let's talk about the music and how this was so meaningful.
Well, Crown Imperial, at the end of the service, to which William and Kate, the new Duke and Duchess, left the Abbey to, was the same orchestral piece by William Morton that Charles and Diana left St Paul's Cathedral to. So, you know, here you can see they're paying tribute. William's paying tribute to both his parents here.
You know, it's impossible. People have said forever, well, you know, these two will inevitably be compared, Diana and Kate. But on a day like today, it's impossible not to make the comparisons. You see the landau, you see the kiss on the balcony. Would you agree with that, Susanna?
Well, yes, I think Kate will take possession of people's hearts, if she hasn't done already, just as Diana did. And you mentioned the reading, and I just thought that was spectacular. You know, James Middleton gave that reading from Romans, and I thought it was really interesting they'd chosen that, because it spoke about living in harmony, it spoke about not being afraid to associate with the lowly, not being haughty, and living peacefully, and it seemed to be a bit of a manifesto for the two of them and how they want to live, and in fact reflecting qualities that, of course, we saw in Diana.
Mm-hmm. And also reflecting the fact that in lieu of presents, they've asked that anybody willing anywhere in the world would donate to 26 of their charities, which were not sort of high-end royal charities, but little-known ones. And I know William has had a huge involvement in the homeless shelters here in London, and sometimes that can be a little bit of politically sensitive territory, if you will. How does he navigate that?
I think that, you know, he became patron of Centrepoint, which his mother Diana had been patron of before, and I think that he took over a lot of her interests, and he furthers a lot of her causes, as indeed does Harry. And you know, I happen to think that both these boys want to continue Diana's legacy. as Susanna was saying, William was 15 when Mother died, Harry was just a couple of years younger. A profound impact on those boys, and this is their way of making constant tribute to her by furthering her legacy.
And also, even, you know, this all started 23 weeks ago now with that ring, and that spectacular ring that was Diana's, and when he was asked, William actually said, yes, it's his way of keeping her close, did he not?
Yes, that he wanted to sort of take her with him, really, and because she couldn't be there to see it, this is his way of making sure she would be present. I thought that was really touching.
I think she would have loved what she saw today. There was that moment that is unforgettable in the Abbey today where Harry is looking down the aisle, looks at his brother and says, "You won't believe it. You won't believe what she looks like." And here we've got Prince William looking at Kate saying, "You look beautiful." And look at Harry looking, I mean, it's just so many moments, I think, of this day that will be unforgettable for people.
Beautiful moments that just register in the mind, don't they? Where we see these young men being so bowled away by the beauty of William's new bride. I mean, it's just lovely. And
it's interesting, though, because of this incredible popularity that William enjoys, there is also pressure from outside to skip Charles, if it is even possible. I mean, has that ever been happened?
No, I mean we don't have a history or a tradition.
Carrying on the
reading. What it did was Edward VIII
from Diana
for love. You know,
help Diana be there today.
Because we do have
Diana's ring, Diana's ring,
Charles,
Diana's ring. She
people like it or whether they don't,
passed on to Kate. Now William had her ring, Diana's ring.
I heard a
Diana's ring
discussion
passed
the
on
other day about, well,
Kate.
76, 77 by the time the Queen dies in the Essential Throne.
We had a ring, not just an ordinary one.
Well, he's waiting for
We had a ring that used to be passed on to Diana.
Because
She was queen. Princess, I
so
mean.
spectacular.
You pass it on, pass it on, pass it
that
on.
moment when
pass
she
it
is
on
in
to
the
Kate.
Abbey and Kate and William walk right past her.
Yeah.
This has got to be, though, for Queen Elizabeth, there it is, proud grandmother.
You see, Kate has just curtsied to the Queen, and the Queen nods to her.
But when the Queen stepped out on that balcony and saw hundreds of thousands of people, that must give her pride to know that her family can still pull in the crowds.
Pull in the crowds, and that it's more secure than it's been in a long time. You know, I mean, she has spoken publicly about being proud of Charles and knowing that monarchy would be in a safe pair of hands. But in my view, the future of the monarchy really holds to that young man. You know, it's in the hands of that young man, William.
And actually, it's interesting because Kate might be our next queen, because whilst we won't skip over Prince Charles, I think it's been publicly acknowledged, or at least it's been considered, that Camilla might be the princess consort rather than taking the title of queen.
Well,
I thought when he
was
interviewed by an American broadcaster, Prince Charles said something like, "You never know."
Well, she will be queen. I mean, this whole nonsense of her being princess consort, this is still, you know, smoothing the water so as not to upset the Diana fans, but